Greek mythology is as twisted as anything can get, but this story will have you rethinking whether something like it could really happen. Let's begin. Ixion was a man who suffered one of the greatest falls from grace, for he went from being a respected king to being an eternal prisoner of Tartarus. Ixion is sometimes said to be Phlegyas' son, who was in turn Ares' son, the rageful god of war who in a fit of wrath against Apollo burned down one of Apollo's temples, resulting in Phlegyas' death beneath the god's arrows. This madness, though if hereditary, might explain events later on in Ixion's life. Ixion would succeed Antion as king of the Lapiths. Ixion found himself a potential bride in the form of Dia, daughter of Deionius. He promised him money to guarantee the marriage, but after the wedding, Ixion refused to pay his father-in-law. To avoid an argument with Ixion, Deionius took 3 of Ixion's finest horses to pay off the loan. The loss of the horses was soon noticed by Ixion, and the king of the Lapiths plotted his revenge. Ixion would invite Deionius to a non-existent banquet, but when Ixion's father-in-law arrived, he pushed him in a fire pit. Killing Deionius was a horrific crime, because the ancient Greeks regarded killing a relative and killing a guest to be an enormous sin. Some consider Ixion's murder of his father-in-law to be the first murder of a relative in the ancient world. Ixion would be expelled from his own realm for the crime. In the end, it was Zeus who took pity on Ixion, and it was the supreme deity who absolved him of his earlier crimes. Ixion was even invited to a feast on Mount Olympus by Zeus. However, it appears that Ixion had succumbed to lunacy by this point, and instead of celebrating his good fortune, Ixion sought to make love to Hera, his benefactor's wife. Hera alerted her husband about his guest's unwelcome approaches. But Zeus did not think that an invited guest would act in such an unsuitable manner. So Zeus decided to put Ixion to the test. Zeus fashioned a cloud into a look-alike for Hera, naming the cloud Nephele, and it was to Nephele that Ixion would next cast his gaze. Ixion would indeed sleep with Nephele and boast how he had slept with Hera. Zeus now had the proof of Ixion's new crime, although some say that as Zeus had perhaps slept with Ixion's wife Dia, then the crime of Ixion was not so great. Regardless, Zeus decided upon an appropriate punishment for Ixion, for to the god, sleeping or attempting to sleep with his wife was a greater crime than murder. Zeus had Hermes bound Ixion to a fiery wheel that would traverse the sky forever. This fiery wheel, with Ixion attached, would at some point be taken from the sky and placed instead within the depths of Tartarus. For Ixion was regarded as one of those, along with Sisyphus and Tantalus, who would suffer eternal punishment in Tartarus.